Hello, miladies of inestimable value. Silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. That's the kind of silence Sigma females live in. Not the peaceful kind you get during a spa retreat, but the kind that echoes louder the more you ignore it. It's the silence of a woman who walks through life unaccompanied, not because she's hard to love, but because most people don't know how to love her kind of depth without drowning in it. Here's a cold, hard fact. Studies show that highly independent women are more prone to existential loneliness, not from lack of people, but from lack of resonance. That's the Sigma female's reality. She's surrounded by noise but starving for truth. People call her mysterious, too much or too quiet, but they never stop to ask what her silence is hiding. Because if they did, they'd realize her loneliness isn't about being alone, it's about being untouched. She's not waiting for a savior, a party invite, or a woo-up text. She's trying to figure out if there's anyone on this planet who sees her as more than a challenge or a curiosity. But don't worry, she's not crying in a corner with sad violin music in the background. No, she's more likely laughing at her own jokes and giving the side eye to her phone when it rings unexpectedly. This is not your typical loneliness story. This is the raw, untold truth of what it actually feels like to be a Sigma female, intimidatingly self-sufficient, deeply intuitive, and secretly battling a type of solitude most people will never understand. And trust me, once you hear what she experiences behind that unreadable face and bulletproof aura, you'll never look at a quiet woman the same way again. Number 1. Emotional intelligence becomes a curse. She's smart, no doubt about that. Not just book smart, but emotionally sharp. She can walk into a room and immediately pick up on the energy. Who's faking it, who's secretly angry, who feels out of place. She can tell when someone says I'm fine, but actually means I'm falling apart. At first it feels like a gift, but over time it turns into a weight she didn't ask to carry. The loneliest Sigma female knows how to read the fine print of human behavior. While others get lost in words, she listens to tone, body language, energy shifts. She catches every uncomfortable pause, every forced laugh, every sudden mood change. People think she's just quiet, but really, she's watching everything. And because she sees so clearly, she can't pretend not to. She knows when someone's lying to her. She knows when someone's only around for selfish reasons. She knows when people say they care but don't act like it. That kind of awareness sounds powerful, but it gets lonely fast, because once you see through people's masks, it's hard to feel close to anyone. Trust becomes a rare currency. She starts pulling back, not because she wants to be alone, but because she can't keep pretending anymore. She can't do fake friendships, one-sided love, or surface-level conversations. They feel like sandpaper against her skin. What makes it even worse is that no one sees the toll it takes on her. People think she's got it all figured out. They call her strong, independent, emotionally intelligent, like it's a compliment. But no one asks what it's like to carry all that emotional awareness and have nowhere to put it. No one asks what it's like to feel everything but be surrounded by people who feel nothing real. So she keeps it all in. The observations, the gut feelings, the quiet sadness. And in a strange way, the very thing that makes her so emotionally intelligent is the same thing that leaves her feeling emotionally isolated. Because once you know the truth about people, it becomes harder to connect with the version they're pretending to be. Number 2. People project their insecurities onto her. People don't always say it out loud, but they can sense strength, and they treat Sigma females like emotional tanks. She's the one others run to when their world falls apart, when they need advice, when they want someone to listen without judgment. And she always shows up. She listens carefully, she gives thoughtful responses, and she carries their emotional chaos like it's her own. The problem is, no one ever stops to ask how she's doing. It's like people assume she doesn't need support because she's calm, composed, and always has the right words. They think she's unbreakable, so they unload their problems onto her, again and again, like she's some kind of emotional storage unit. But behind that cool exterior, she's dealing with her own storms. She's got thoughts that keep her up at night. She overthinks conversations, questions people's intentions, and wonders why she always feels 10 steps ahead and 3 steps removed. Over time, this pattern starts to wear her down. It's not just the emotional weight of other people, it's the growing awareness that most of them only come around when they're falling apart. They don't check on her, they don't ask how her heart is, they don't see her as someone who might need a soft place to land. They see her as someone who is the soft place, without ever thinking about what that costs her. And here's the truth. Being the one everyone leans on sounds noble, but it's exhausting when no one leans back. She becomes the strong friend, the fixer, the listener, but never the one who's allowed to fall apart. And after a while she starts to feel invisible. Not because people can't see her, but because they only see what they need from her. What hurts most is knowing she never signed up for that role. She didn't ask to be the one carrying other people's emotional mess. She just wanted genuine connection, something mutual. But when people project their insecurities onto her and treat her like a solution instead of a human being, she ends up lonelier than ever, with a heart full of pain no one bothers to notice. Number 3, she outgrows people at a soul level. There's a point in her life where the Sigma female stops trying to make things work with people who aren't growing. It's not because she thinks she's better than anyone. It's because she keeps evolving, and most people around her don't. She outgrows people not out of pride, but because staying in the same conversations, the same patterns, and the same one-sided relationships starts to feel like emotional suffocation. And the worst part? No one really notices when she leaves. They just feel the space she once filled. She's the kind of woman who takes growth seriously. She doesn't stay the same year after year. Her mindset shifts, her priorities change, her view of the world deepens. She reads, she reflects, she unlearns, she levels up. But while she's busy doing the inner work, many of the people she once called friends are still stuck in gossip, ego, and emotional immaturity. She can't relate to them anymore. Their version of fun feels draining, their conversations feel empty, and trying to force a connection that no longer fits only leaves her feeling lonelier than being alone ever could. What makes this even more painful is that she still cares. Just because she walks away doesn't mean she didn't value the connection, but she's learned the hard way that trying to hold on to people who aren't growing with her ends up costing her peace. And peace isn't something she's willing to lose for anyone, not anymore. She doesn't make a scene when she detaches. No fights, no drama, no long explanations. She just slowly fades, quietly creating space between herself and anyone who feels heavy to her energy. That's how she survives. Not by clinging to the past, but by honoring the woman she's becoming, even if it means walking alone. The loneliest part? Few people ever chase her. They don't ask why she left or how they made her feel or what changed. They just assume she drifted away. But she didn't drift. She decided. And that decision comes with a sadness only a Sigma female understands. Because outgrowing people doesn't mean she stopped loving them. It just means she finally started loving herself more. Number 4. She sometimes misses her old naivety. There was a time when she believed people meant what they said. When someone told her they'd never leave, she believed it. When a friend promised loyalty, she trusted it. When love showed up, she didn't overthink it. She opened her heart fully, without hesitation. That version of her was soft, open, and full of hope. But life chipped away at that innocence. Every betrayal, every fake friend, every shallow connection took a little piece of her. And now all that remains is someone wiser, stronger, but undeniably more guarded. She doesn't cry over the past, but sometimes she misses that old version of herself. The girl who didn't read between every line, who didn't look for hidden motives, who didn't assume that kindness came with conditions. Back then, love felt easy. Friendships felt safe. The world felt full of possibility. But the more she saw people's true colors, the harder it became to hold on to that wide-eyed trust. She learned that loyalty is rare, that some people only stick around when they need something, and that even the ones closest to you can switch up without warning. She's not bitter. She's just awake. Now, she analyzes everything. She doesn't attach quickly. She questions intentions even when someone seems genuine. Not because she wants to, but because she's been burned too many times to risk playing naive again. People look at her and see someone strong, unshakable. But they don't know the price she paid to become that way. They don't see the lonely nights, the silent betrayals, the inner battles that built her armor. And in quiet moments, she sometimes aches for that old version of herself, the one who used to dream freely, who didn't have 100 questions running through her mind every time someone showed affection. That girl was fragile, yes, but she was also fearless in her ability to love and believe. Now she's powerful. Now she protects herself. But sometimes, just sometimes, she misses the version of her that didn't have to. Number 5. She battles existential dissonance daily. She doesn't get excited over shallow wins. She doesn't care about who got promoted, who bought a new car, or who posted the perfect relationship photo. While others are busy chasing attention or following trends, her mind is somewhere else, wrestling with thoughts that feel too big for everyday life. She questions why she's here, what her purpose really is, and whether her path is even leading anywhere meaningful. She's constantly torn between living in this world and feeling like she doesn't belong to it. That's the existential dissonance she carries every single day. It's not that she's negative or depressed, it's deeper than that. It's a quiet discomfort with the surface-level routines most people are content with. She sees people arguing over things that don't matter, losing sleep over things that won't last, and wasting time with people who don't even know who they are. And she can't unsee it. She can't pretend to care about things that feel empty to her. That's why she often feels like she's watching life from behind glass, physically present but mentally somewhere else entirely. She wants more truth, more depth, more alignment, not just a paycheck or a weekend distraction. She wants to feel spiritually connected to what she's doing. She wants her life to mean something, not just look good on paper. And that craving isolates her because most people are just trying to get by. They don't understand why she turns down opportunities that don't align with her values. They don't get why she'd rather be alone than in a crowd that doesn't challenge her soul. And honestly, she's tired of explaining herself. The loneliest part of this is that her internal world rarely matches the world around her. She can be at a dinner table, smiling and polite, while her mind is quietly questioning whether anything about this life is truly real or just a distraction from something deeper. That disconnect eats at her, because no matter how much she tries to blend in, she can't shake the feeling that she's awake in a world that prefers to stay asleep. And being awake, that's not glamorous, it's heavy, it's raw, and it's lonely as hell. Number 6. She questions if real connection is even possible anymore. She's not angry and she's not cold. She's just exhausted from trying to build something real in a world that thrives on pretending. She's tried over and over again to meet people where they are, to stay open, to believe in something deeper than surface-level exchanges. But every time she lets someone in, it ends the same, with her being too much, too deep, too different. And so now, instead of rushing into new bonds, she steps back. She watches, she questions. And in her quiet moments, she seriously wonders if real connection is even possible anymore. It's not that she doesn't want it, she craves it more than anything. A bond that feels soul-level, a presence that doesn't require performance. Someone who doesn't flinch at her intensity or confuse her quiet with disinterest. But the truth is, most people she's met don't know how to meet her there. They're looking for distractions, not depth. They want convenience, not connection. And they mistake her silence for mystery, without realizing it's really just years of disappointment layered into protection. She used to think everyone was capable of going deep. That if she just explained herself better, showed her heart clearly, they'd get it. But now she knows most people aren't interested in seeing someone's soul. They're interested in what feels easy, and she's never been easy. She's been real, raw, relentlessly honest, and that scares people. They love the idea of her, but they don't have the emotional range to truly hold space for her. So she wonders. Maybe her soul came here to walk alone, not in a tragic, self-pitying way, but with a kind of calm acceptance. Maybe she was meant to observe more than participate, to feel deeply but at a distance, to connect briefly but not stay. It's a thought that lingers, not because she's given up, but because she's finally being honest with herself about the world she lives in. Connection isn't just about being around people. It's about being understood. And after all she's been through, she's starting to accept the possibility that maybe her understanding of love and loyalty is just rarer than most. Number 7. She's the mirror people fear. She doesn't have to expose anyone, she just has to exist. Her presence alone disrupts the fake personas people wear like uniforms. The way she carries herself with quiet honesty, self-awareness, and zero need for approval makes people uncomfortable in ways they can't even explain. She doesn't chase trends, she doesn't engage in fake flattery, and she doesn't morph to fit in. And in a world built on shallow validation and performance, that kind of authenticity is almost violent. She's the kind of woman who sees through the masks. She picks up on what's not being said, the nervous laughter, the bragging that covers insecurity, the fake confidence that crumbles under silence. And people feel that. Even if she never says a word, they know she sees the cracks. They sense that they can't manipulate her with charm or distract her with status. And because she doesn't play the game, she ends up threatening people who are terrified of being truly seen. What's unsettling is that she never tries to confront or expose anyone. That's not her style. But still, her energy confronts them. Her calm becomes their discomfort. Her self-possession becomes their insecurity. They start projecting. Suddenly she's intimidating, too serious, or cold. Not because she actually is, but because she doesn't reflect back the fake version of themselves they want to see. That's why some people ghost her for no reason. Why others throw subtle shade or try to shrink her presence. Because when someone is used to being admired for their mask, standing in front of someone who sees behind it feels threatening. She doesn't need to raise her voice or assert dominance. She just is. And that is enough to make people either love her deeply or avoid her entirely. This is the kind of loneliness that stings, not because she lacks attention, but because the more real she becomes, the more she repels people who aren't ready to face themselves. She's the mirror they fear, the one that doesn't flatter, the one that quietly reveals the truth. And the truth for most people is a little too sharp to look at for long. Number 8. She battles chronic disappointment syndrome. She doesn't walk around bitter or guarded on the outside, but inside she's always bracing herself. Not for the worst, just for the usual. Because after a long enough pattern of letdowns, she's stopped expecting magic from people. It's not because she's negative. It's because experience has shown her that most people show up with charm, but no depth. Interest, but no consistency. Words, but no soul behind them. So now, even when someone seems promising, she holds herself back. Not out of fear, but out of sheer exhaustion. She starts every new connection with a cautious kind of hope, a flicker of curiosity, a quiet, reluctant optimism that maybe this one will be different. But soon, patterns begin to repeat. The conversations stay shallow. The emotional effort is one-sided. The person can't meet her where she lives, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally. And just like that, another almost connection falls apart. Not because of drama, but because of emptiness. She's not asking for perfection. She's asking for presence. For someone who actually listens, not just hears. For someone who speaks from the soul, not from a script. For someone who doesn't panic the moment she shows how deeply she feels. But those people are rare. And she's learned the hard way that depth intimidates those who only know how to swim in the shallow end. So now she deals with what you could honestly call chronic disappointment syndrome. Not an official diagnosis, but a lived reality. It's the constant letdown of expecting real connection and getting performance, of hoping for soul and getting ego, of reaching out and realizing she's the only one reaching, again. And still, she tries, because there's a stubborn fire in her that refuses to completely give up on humanity. But every time a new face brings the same emptiness, it chips away at that fire. And that's the worst kind of loneliness, the one that happens in the middle of conversations. When someone is right there in front of you, but you can feel how far away they really are. She's not asking for a miracle. She just wants someone to show up as real as she is. But these days, even that feels like too much to ask. Number 9. She can't unsee the darkness in people. She's developed an almost unnatural ability to read people, not just their words, but everything beneath them. A slight twitch in the corner of a smile, a flicker of hesitation in their eyes, a sudden change in tone. These small signals speak volumes to her. It's like her brain is wired to catch what most miss, to pick up on the hidden agendas, the unspoken fears, and the subtle deceptions that everyone else overlooks or chooses to ignore. Because of this, she can't fake trust. She doesn't get swept away by charm or charisma the way most do. While others might be dazzled by surface-level sweetness or smooth talk, she's busy scanning for authenticity. She knows that behind every flattering word or friendly gesture, there's a shadow, sometimes faint, sometimes glaring, that tells the real story. And once she sees that shadow, there's no going back. No rewind button to erase the knowledge or pretend everything is okay. This clarity is both a gift and a curse. It saves her from getting tangled in lies and empty promises, but it also makes genuine connection rare and fragile. She approaches people not with blind hope, but with a guarded awareness, always weighing what's real and what's performance. There's no space for naivety anymore because she can't unsee what others hide so well. That's why she often feels alone in a crowd. Not because she dislikes people, but because she's seen too much to be fooled. She meets facades, not souls. She senses the darkness lurking behind polite smiles and friendly eyes, and that makes her wary, hesitant, sometimes even cold. But really, it's just protection. She doesn't settle for illusions because she knows they'll only disappoint. She doesn't let herself fall for stories that sound good, but feel wrong. She doesn't just meet people, she sees them in ways that most can't handle. And that's why she often stands apart, carrying a loneliness born from seeing the truth where others look away. Number 10. She doesn't trust compliments. She's heard all the compliments before, some sincere, many not. But she's learned to read beyond the words, to feel the energy behind them. A compliment can sound sweet, but if it's coming from a place of manipulation or obligation, it's hollow to her. She's not interested in empty praise designed to get something in return or to keep up appearances. To her, words are just noise unless they're backed by genuine feeling and consistent actions. That's why she rarely lets compliments touch her heart. They don't move her like they do for others, because she's learned that words can be masks. A person can say you're amazing, while their intentions are far from kind, or shower her with praise only to later reveal selfish motives. She's not naive enough to fall for flattery that's performative or transactional, no matter how polished or frequent. What truly speaks to her is energy, the kind of vibe that can't be faked or rehearsed. She can sense authenticity in the way someone looks at her, in the silence that holds respect, in the consistency of care over time. That frequency cuts through all the noise and hits deeper than any compliment ever could. It's why many compliments simply fall flat. They don't resonate on her wavelength. She's fluent in this silent language of truth, and it keeps her safe from being fooled or played. Compliments feel like currency to most, but to her, they're meaningless, unless backed by real substance. She's learned to protect her heart by tuning out the noise and tuning into the signal beneath it. So while others might bask in the glow of sweet words, she waits for something far rarer. The kind of connection that vibrates on a level beyond speech, a truth that can't be bought, sold, or faked. And until then, she doesn't just hear compliments, she listens for the realness behind them. Number 11. She feels drained after every interaction, even with good people. She's learned to recognize the difference between real connection and just going through the motions. But even with people who seem genuinely kind or good, she often walks away feeling drained. It's not about negativity or conflict. It's about the constant emotional work she ends up doing, even when things appear smooth on the surface. When others leave social interactions feeling recharged or uplifted, she often feels the exact opposite, depleted, worn thin, like she's been carrying the emotional weight for two. This happens because for her, engagement isn't a casual thing, it's an investment. She shows up fully, listens deeply, reads between the lines, and offers genuine care. But too often, that effort isn't matched or even acknowledged. The other person might be friendly and pleasant, but their emotional reserves are shallow, or they're not tuned into the same level of depth. So she ends up doing the heavy lifting, pulling meaning out of small talk, managing the energy in the room, covering emotional gaps no one else notices. Emotional labor isn't a choice for her. It's her default mode, whether she wants it or not. She carries more feelings, absorbs more vibes, and processes more unspoken tensions than anyone else around her realizes. And that kind of constant tuning into others without reciprocal energy drains her in a way that's hard to explain, but impossible to ignore. She's not asking for grand gestures or perfect companionship, just a little balance, a little recognition. But more often than not, she's left feeling like the emotional caregiver in every interaction, even when she's the one who needs care. That imbalance makes socializing feel less like connection and more like a chore, a one-sided performance that leaves her emotionally empty. It's a loneliness that doesn't come from being surrounded by people, but from always giving more than she receives. And no matter how good the company, that tiredness sticks with her long after the conversation ends. Number 12. She's not lonely for company, she's lonely for resonance. She's learned early on that being surrounded by people doesn't automatically fill the emptiness inside. She can walk into a room packed with chatter and laughter but still feel completely hollow. It's not about having company or avoiding silence. It's about the rare, almost mythical experience of true resonance, finding someone who operates on her wavelength, someone whose energy feels like home. Her loneliness isn't about numbers or noise. It's about the absence of connection that goes beyond small talk and surface smiles. It's about the lack of people who see her, not just the version she shows, but the parts she keeps quiet, the complexity beneath the calm exterior. In a sea of acquaintances, she's searching for a soul that vibrates at the same frequency, someone who understands the subtlety of her silence, the depth behind her words. This kind of loneliness is deeply isolating because it's invisible to others. People often mistake her for aloof or distant, assuming she just doesn't want company. But the truth is, she craves something far more profound than just being around others. She craves an echo, a reflection of her true self that's so rare it feels almost like a myth. It's a loneliness rooted in vibration, in the energy that connects souls beyond words. She's not missing people. She's missing her people. And until she finds that resonance, no amount of socializing will fill the void. That's why she often chooses solitude, not as a punishment or a fallback, but as a sanctuary where she can recharge, away from the noise that never quite matches her frequency. Her loneliness isn't a lack of presence. It's a lack of presence that truly sees, truly feels, and truly resonates. And that kind of connection, once found, is so rare and powerful it changes everything. But until then, she walks through crowds like a ghost searching for a home she hasn't yet discovered. The loneliest Sigma female is not simply someone who walks alone by circumstance. She's a rare force shaped by a world that rarely understands her depth. Her solitude is woven from layers far beyond surface-level loneliness. It's an intricate dance between fierce self-reliance and a profound longing for resonance. She's mastered the art of standing tall without crumbling, yet behind that strength lies a heart that has learned to guard itself fiercely, not out of arrogance but out of hard-earned wisdom. She doesn't settle for less because she knows her value, and she refuses to chase fleeting connections that don't meet the standards carved by her experiences. Her interactions drain her not because she lacks warmth, but because she invests so much of her emotional energy in reading between the lines, sensing the hidden motives, and protecting her vulnerable core. Compliments fall flat on her because she's fluent in the language of energy and authenticity. Words without substance mean nothing. She's painfully awake in a world that often prefers sleepwalking, and that clarity makes it nearly impossible to find others who truly match her wavelength. It's not company she craves, but deep, genuine resonance, connections that vibrate with truth and mutual understanding. Her emotional fortress is misunderstood as coldness or detachment, but in reality, it's a carefully constructed sanctuary built to protect the rare and precious parts of herself. The moat around her castle isn't an invitation for casual visitors. It's a warning that only those who come with intention, respect, and real substance will be allowed in. This selective openness is not a weakness but a testament to her self-worth and clarity. In the end, The loneliest Sigma female embodies a paradox, a fierce independence paired with a quiet, often unspoken yearning for a connection so rare it feels almost mythical. Her journey is one of constant balancing between strength and vulnerability, solitude and the desire for meaningful connection. Understanding her means seeing beyond the surface, appreciating the extraordinary complexity beneath, and realizing that her loneliness is not a flaw but a sign of profound depth. She is a solitary soul who walks alone, not because she must, but because she refuses to settle for anything less than the real, the raw, and the resonant. And that makes her one of the most extraordinary and misunderstood beings in any room. If this deep dive into the world of the loneliest Sigma female resonated with you, don't just scroll past. Hit that subscribe button and join a community that's all about uncovering the raw, real truths nobody else talks about. Like what you heard? Smash that like button to show your support. And let us know you're here for content that goes beyond the surface. Got thoughts, experiences, or questions swirling in your mind? Drop a comment below. Let's start a conversation that's as honest and powerful as the topic itself. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, don't keep it to yourself. Share the video and help us spread these extraordinary insights far and wide. Your support fuels this journey, and together we'll keep breaking down barriers and shining light on the things that truly matter.